Thank you for tuning in to the CCS Creative Framework Update. My name is Stephanie Parry and I sit within the Marketing Communications category team over at Crown Commercial Service. Here's just a brief overview of what we want to talk to you about today. We're going to talk about the purpose of the session in terms of what we're sharing, who we are at CCS and what we do, the framework models that we're taking to the market, timelines around our procurements, and how you can stay in touch and be informed. So the purpose of the session today is to share with you our evolved model of the current campaign solutions and communication services framework agreements and the procurement timelines that we're going to be working to for these. Who we are and what we do at Crown Commercial Service. We bring together policy, advice and direct buying, providing commercial services to the public sector and essentially saving money for the taxpayer. Within our category team, we put in place agreements that allow organisations to hire their agencies for marketing campaigns. We of course don't do this alone, but work really closely with our core customers and clients to understand what their requirements are. One of our key stakeholders is Government Communications Service, and they are our strategic business partner and help us put in place agreements to serve their requirements and their wider central government clients. Once the agreements are in place, CCS are very much still involved with the agencies and in the day-to-day management of the framework agreements. This includes things like collection of management information and data, reviewing KPIs in the contracts, looking at general customer satisfaction and getting ongoing feedback on how the agreements are working from both a client and agency perspective. All of the information that we do collect goes forward in shaping future replacement agreements. In terms of where we are in the process, we've undertaken robust stakeholder management. This has included engagement with agencies, both in our framework and outside in the market with agencies that we don't currently work with. We've been getting feedback throughout the duration of the frameworks from our customers. We've been doing more in-depth workshops and sessions on the specification. In terms of trade bodies, we've been working with the IPA and ISBAR, and this is to ensure that what we take to market is in line with industry best practice. We've had key stakeholders sign off on our proposed replacement model. This includes Government Communications Service and Directors of Communications across government and wider public sector clients. For where we are now in the process, we're currently preparing our tender documentation. That includes finalising the specifications that we take out to market, looking at what our pricing and our quality evaluation criteria will be, and preparing the invitation to tender bid packs. This slide is a brief overview of what we've currently got with our creative model. We have two framework agreements, one campaign solutions with 26 agencies that can deliver end-to-end marketing campaigns. On communication services, we've got 59 agencies split across 11 specialist lots, which you can see on the page. That's 67 agencies across the two frameworks. Feedback throughout the duration of these agreements is that they've generally worked well. We've had fantastic collaboration between agencies on both agreements to service client briefs. Other feedback that we've had, however, suggests that the frameworks are static and not agile enough as we do need them to be. The agreements are generally in place for 4 years. Therefore, we're limiting ourselves in accessing new and emerging services in the industry when it becomes available. From a SME perspective, the government commits to spending £1 in every £3, and over 60% of our agencies are SMEs. What we want to do is continue to support SMEs with the future agreements, and we'll talk to you about that in the next slide. This is an overview of the new model, Campaign Solutions 2. As you can see, Campaign Solutions will continue to be a framework agreement where we have a set number of agencies per lot or service. These agencies can be a consortia, an individual organisation solely, or a lead agency can be appointed with subcontractors. The agencies on here will undertake the robust procurement process and then customers will then run a further mini competition with their own evaluation criteria to appoint their own agencies against their brief and requirements. In terms of the scope of each of the lots, Lot 1 of this agreement will essentially be what we had before on Campaign Solutions 1, but with an increased international focus. The big difference on this lot is where we will decouple our creative supply chain. These agencies on this lot will be responsible for everything created up until the creation of a master asset. They will then hand over to our Lot 4 agency under the title Content Versioning and Distribution. In terms of Lot 2 major events, this is new scope, and most recently we've had requirements for large events such as COP26 and the G7 Summit. This lot is for events of this scale. In terms of Lot 3, communication, strategy and planning, this is pretty much the same as what we had before on the Communication Services Framework Agreement. However, what we've expanded is the scope to ensure that the agencies on this roster can and will consider not just our paid media, but also owned and earned. In terms of Lot 5, stock imagery, footage and sound, again, this is new scope, and what we aim to do here is leverage our scale and eliminate risk of usage rights infringement. Communications Marketplace replaces the Communication Services Framework Agreement that we had in place with the 11 specialist lots. The big change here is that we're moving towards a dynamic marketplace, and what this means is we're no longer having a set roster of agencies against specialist services, but instead it'll be a dynamic marketplace with different specialisms, and the agencies will register against the services that they can provide. The agencies, in order to get onto this communications marketplace, will not need to go through the full procurement process like Campaign Solutions 2, but instead they will look at the marketplace and they can register against any services that they can provide, along with some credentials and maximum framework rate cards. The dynamic marketplace is limitless in terms of the number of agencies, and they can drop on and drop off as they see fit for their own organisation and objectives. In terms of how the customers access the agencies, they will need to go through a filtering system, which we're still yet to define, and they will pull out a shortlist of agencies that can meet their requirements. They will then need to run a further mini competition, and agencies will be invited to compete against the brief and the requirements of the customer. This is not a fully defined list of services, and this can and likely will evolve over the next 4 years. If we find that we've got additional requirements, we can add them onto this marketplace throughout the whole duration. In terms of the key benefits of the communications marketplace, we feel as if there's going to be huge benefits for both our customers and to the marketplace, the agencies out in the market. We think the barrier to entry is going to be really low for SMEs, and in terms from a customer perspective, we're not locking ourselves out of accessing any new and emerging services or talent within the market. Here's the timeline for Campaign Solutions 2. What we're doing now is continuing on with our market engagement, ensuring that we've gathered all of the requirements, and we're writing the specification and defining our evaluation criteria. We'll be issuing the tender in February, and the tender deadline will be in April. The evaluation will run from May until July, and then the go live of the framework will be in September 21. As I mentioned before, the timeline for Communications Marketplace will be significantly different from Campaign Solutions, reason being that there will not be the same procurement process. Instead, over the next few months up until July, we're going to be fully defining what our requirements are for the marketplace, working through building out the marketplace in terms of the tech and looking at what the scope could be and the filtering system. The suppliers will be able to register on this marketplace from July, and obviously you can see here that supplier registration is July onwards, because you can continue to register against any services and any new services throughout the duration. We plan to go live for customers in September 21 and do a bigger launch for both agreements together. For how you can stay updated and informed about all of our plans, please look at our upcoming deals and framework web pages. In terms of registered interest for further comms, we've got a designated mailbox for these procurements that you can see there. And we do recommend that all agencies set up alerts on Contracts Finder. This is where we will be publishing the procurement notice when we do go to market in February. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.